There's a reason they call me Mr. Luxury. Not only do I have an eye for all that is exuberant, but I rub shoulders with the most influential movers and shakers on this planet in only the most exclusive of places. When it comes to luxurious destinations, there's nowhere quite like Europe. It's the home of the supercar, with the likes of Ferrari and Lamborghini to name but two. It's the fashion center of the world, the source of so much art and culture, and with countless castles, palaces, and stunning vistas. It's a veritable billionaire's playground. But when I'm on a mega yacht, sailing off the coast of Monaco, I don't spend my time with just anybody. I call on my wealthiest friends to share in the experience with me. Here are the 10 richest people in Europe. Number 10. Palangi Mystery, $15 billion. The Indian billionaire controls the 154-year-old Shapoorji Pallonji Group, which is a construction behemoth based in Mumbai. His family also owns an 18.4% stake in Tata Sons, that is the holding company for the Tata Group, which is a conglomerate of more than 100 companies, with a combined yearly revenue of $100 billion. Within this portfolio are several luxury brands, including Jaguar. Despite spending most of his time in Mumbai, Pallonji renounced his Indian citizenship in 2003 and became an Irish citizen, something he was able to do because of his Irish wife, Pat Perrin Dubash. Together, they own a 200-acre stud farm on the Emerald Isle and are by far the wealthiest people in the country. Number 9. Leonardo Del Vecchio, $19.8 billion. If you've ever worn prescription glasses or sunglasses, then the chances are that you've bought a product from Leonardo Del Vecchio. In 1961, at the age of 25, he founded Luxottica and in the years following bought Sunglass Hut, Ray-Ban, and Oakley to create one of the largest eyewear companies in the world. In all, he has 7,000 stores and more than 77,000 employees, and he's the second richest person in Italy, with an estimated net worth of $19.8 billion. While he certainly works hard, he also plays hard. He has 6 children, and they live in the world's capital of fashion, Milan. He also owns one of my favorite supercars, the rare $1.4 million Ferrari LaFerrari, and a $40 million super yacht called Monacos, a $50 million Gulfstream G550 private jet, a large house in Milan, as well as mansions in Florida and the Côte d'Azur. It seems Leonardo can do anything he sets his sights on, and I, for one, can't wait to see what he does next. Number 8. Suzanne Clatton, $21 billion. Suzanne Clatton is the richest woman in Germany, thanks in part to a series of savvy investments and decisions made by her father. On his deathbed in 1982, she inherited a 50.1% stake in chemical manufacturer Altana, as well as a 12.5% stake in BMW, a company that her father was credited with turning around. Despite inheriting these assets, Suzanne is just like her father and has transformed them into something far more valuable. She took Altana into the top 30 German company and has since acquired virtually all of the shares she didn't already own. She has also invested in a number of other companies, which have netted her impressive returns. Often seen on the slopes in Austria and golfing on some of Europe's finest courses, not only is Clatton a tour de force in the boardroom, but she's a force to be reckoned with in anything she turns her mind to. Number 7. Giovanni Ferrero, $22.4 billion. As chairman of the confectionery company named after his father, Giovanni Ferrero has a personal wealth of just over $22 billion. He once ran the company that was set up by his grandfather in the wake of the Second World War in 1946 with his brother and father, but they both passed away in 2011 and 2014, leaving him to take full control. The empire owns brands such as Ferrero Rocher, Kinder, and Tic Tac, and in 2018 purchased all of Nestle's candy business in the United States to bring Butterfinger and Baby Ruth under his purview. The business is highly profitable, selling around $13 billion worth of confectionery every year. and the company had billions of dollars in reserves. Very little is known about Giovanni outside his inner circle, but he lives with his wife, Paola Rossi, and his son. Together, they live the high life and have a huge villa in Monte Carlo. With the company headquarters being in Alba, in northwest Italy, he had to commute to work every day in the only way a billionaire can, by helicopter. His passion isn't all about business though, and he's somehow found time to write and publish 3 novels in the past 2 decades, along with a marketing handbook that was released in 1990. Number 6. Dieter Schwartz, $22.6 billion. Dieter Schwartz, from Germany, is known as being a recluse and for his minimal spending, but his thriftiness has led him to being the 36th richest person in the world, with an estimated net worth of $22.6 billion. The majority of his wealth comes from his ownership in Swatch Group, which he took control of following his father's death in 1977. The company is the largest food retailer in Europe, with 12,000 Lidl and Kaufland supermarkets that generate around $121 billion in revenue each year. He lives in Heilbronn, Germany, with his wife and 2 daughters, and has taken unusual steps to ensure the independence of his supermarket chains. After stepping down from management in 1999, 99.9% of the company's shares were put into a charitable foundation that focuses on promoting cultural exchanges around the world, while the voting rights were given to a separate company. While it's unlikely you'll ever see Dieter at the fashion shows or cruising past the Riviera, his impact across the continent is unavoidable. Number 5. Elaine and Gerard Wertheimer, $29.2 billion. Francis Wertheimer brothers have a combined net worth of $29.2 billion, with an empire and fortune that began in 1920 when their grandfather Pierre funded the designer Coco Chanel. Now they control a vast empire, and while their fortune was largely inherited, they've made a series of savvy investments that have only served to increase it. They are co-owners of Chanel and are known by others in the industry as being fashion's quietest billionaires. They are quite unassuming, never taking part in interviews, and if they attend Chanel fashion shows, they drive themselves to the venue and will sit in the 3rd or 4th row so as not to distract any attention away from the event. Beyond the fashion house, the company owns Aries Lingerie and Beachwear, Tanner Kroll, which produces leather products, a British gun maker called Holland & Holland. These brothers also invest heavily into their interests and own a number of French vineyards, including Chateau Razon-Seglar and Chateau Cagnon, along with a horse racing stable, which they use to compete in both America and France. Number 4. Francois Pinault, $29.7 billion. Francois Pinault and his family are the majority shareholders of luxury good company Kering, which owns brands such as Gucci, Saint Laurent, and Alexander McQueen, to name a few. Furthermore, this holding company owns Converse Shoes, Samsonite, the Vail Ski Resort in Canada, and Christie's Auction House. These reflect his hobbies, such as skiing, and he has one of the largest contemporary art collections in the world. He owns the Palazzo Grossi in Venice, where his artwork is displayed. With more than 300 pieces, including those by Picasso, Damien Hirst, and Marshall Race, among others. His love of the arts also led him to donate 100 million euros in the wake of the fire that damaged Notre Dame in April of 2019, with the hope that one day it will be fully restored. He also owns an expedition company, a theater in Paris, a French soccer team, a number of vineyards, and not only does he have a luxury private yacht, but he also owns a luxury ship operator, which has a fleet of yachts that carry more than 23,000 people each year. Number 3. Francois Bettencourt Myers, $49.3 billion. The richest woman in the world is Francois Bettencourt Myers, who is the granddaughter of the founder of L'Oreal and now owns 33% of the cosmetics company. She has served served on the L'Oreal board since 1997 and is chairwoman of the family's holding company and the president of their philanthropic foundation, which has around $700 million that it uses to fund the development of France's science and arts. She's also a noted author, having released a book about the Greek gods and a number of commentaries of the Bible. She has also written about Judaism, the tribes of Israel, and the family tree of Adam and Eve. She inherited her wealth in 2017 when her mother passed away and is currently thought to be worth about $49.3 billion. Number 2. Amancio Ortega, $62.7 billion. As the founder of clothing retailer Zara and owning 59% of Inditex, which is the largest clothing retailer in the world, Amancio Ortega is the wealthiest retailer on the planet. He was once, in 2015, the overall richest person on Earth, but is currently only worth around $62.7 billion. Despite his involvement in most markets and the probability that you own items of clothing that were made by one of his companies, Amancio has a relatively low profile and goes to great lengths to keep his privacy. In fact, it was only in 1999 that the first photograph of him was ever published, and despite being in business for almost 50 years, he's only given a handful of interviews. He's well known for living a simpler lifestyle and lives with his wife in A Coruña in Spain. He used to go to the same coffee shop every day and eat with his employees, but he has made some extravagant purchases since then. He owns an equestrian center in Galicia, Spain, drives an Audi R8, has a $45 million Bombardier Global Express BD 700 private jet, and is often on his 67-meter yacht called Drizzle, which is based in Saint-Tropez. He also owns several large properties, including the Torre Picasso skyscraper in Madrid and the Epic Residences and Hotel in Miami. It's his philanthropic endeavors that have gained him the most attention, though. In 2012, he donated 20 million euros to Richest Internationalis, which is a Roman Catholic relief organization, and he also gave 300 million euros to help fight cancer in Spain, an act that enabled the purchase of 440 detection machines and 50 stereotactic radiotherapy machines. Because of his charitable donations, he was awarded a prize at the 2017 Spanish Association of Foundations Awards. Number 1. Bernard Arnault, $76 billion. If there's anyone in Europe that you want to be your friend, then it's probably Bernard Arnault, who is the 4th richest person in the world. He has a reported net worth of $76 billion, which he has made by being the chairman and CEO of LVMH, the largest producer of luxury goods that includes brands like Louis Vuitton, Dom Perignon, and Tag Heuer. He and his wife, a Canadian concert pianist named Hélène Massier, live on the left bank south of the Seine River in Paris, next to the Latin Quarter and the Saint-Germain-des-Prés. The home has a large collection of artwork, including pieces by Picasso, Andy Warhol, Damien Hirst, and Jean-Michel Basquiat. Arnault has a fleet of private jets that he and his children use, a huge vacation villa in Saint-Tropez, and has spent at least $96 million on a number of properties in various districts of Los Angeles. As you'd expect from such an influential person, Arnault's position gets him the ear of the most powerful people in the world. In 2017, he was pictured with Donald Trump just a few days before his inauguration, and he's often seen meeting other world leaders. Well, I hope you've enjoyed meeting all the movers and shakers from across Europe. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, I must retire. The after party's about to begin on Armancio's yacht, so I'll see you next time. Pip pip de doodly doo.